That's nice. Welcome to NFL Word, NFL Starts and Ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And week 14 in the NFL, as we record this before the Monday night game between the Bengals and the Cowboys, was more about survival games than one could imagine. Let's first begin with the Lions-Packers, which we did talk about on the What Play podcast, which you did not see that. Go check out on Spotify, What Play podcast, week 14. Which is, we didn't do a recap, which we'll probably continue to do. But that's neither here nor there. We had the Lions and Packers in that game, and the Lions winning the game 34-31. Look, I'm happy the Lions won. They're really banged up. They're playing their tail off. They have 15 players on IR, which is insane to really think about. They're just not. They have this inability. It's almost like a blessing and a curse at the same time. Of we have to go for it on fourth down 90% of the time. They just do it. Even on the final drive, the Lions had they go for it on fourth and I think it was 4th and inches. I don't hate the play call. I don't even hate going for it. It's the fact of how many times they go for it. They went for it on their own 30. They didn't get it. They got the Packers back in the game. That and the Goff interception. But they go for it on their own 30. On their own 30. They don't get it. Packers go down the field, score a touchdown, get an interception on the next drive, go back and score a touchdown. Now they're ahead, and the Lions end up having to play catch up late, tie the game, and then get the ball and go down the field, convert on the fourth down to win the game. But it's just, you can't do that consistently. The concern about the Lions is, number one, their health. Their health is going to be a big concern. But their willingness to go for it on any fourth down, anywheres on the field, it's not great. I understand you have a lot of confidence in your team, Dan Campbell, but you can't keep doing that. It's not going to happen. And for the Packers, can we also get a game where they play well the whole game? They've played really bad in halves. They really do. They'll have a great first half, but the second half will be bad. Or they have a great second half, but the first half they can't do a thing. It's just that's the way they operate. And it's happened again here. Can Jordan Love be good for more than one half and not have to play catch up? That's the point. Now, let's move on to Carolina at Philadelphia. The score was 22-16. I want to talk about this. We really need to talk about this. Just like we had a conversation, or we're going to have a conversation at some point about the Chiefs, we're probably going to have a conversation about the Eagles. Not the same conversation, but a conversation nonetheless. Hang on, I'm going to fix the lighting. Man. There. There you go. That's better. But a conversation for the Eagles needs to be had because, look, they want to run the ball. It's good. They can run it. They got Saquon. Saquon tops Shady McCoy as the all-time single season rusher for the Eagles. Congrats to Saquon for that. And that's not a sarcastic thing. It is really congratulations. But They play Carolina and still nearly lost the game. These close games it's like the Chiefs. These are close games for no reason. They don't need to be close. Why are they? Your offense doesn't show up for periods at a time. You beat the Bengals because you actually played a good game, and then you haven't played a really good game since. They played Carolina, and look, you can say, well, Bryce Young made some mistakes. He threw an interception that probably shouldn't have thrown it. I get it. On the final drive, though, he's pinned back and he's playing Houdini because it's I think it was like a third or fourth down. He just got called for an illegal forward pass. It was like on their own 3-yard line. And he ends up shaking 3 Eagles to get to the left-hand side and just throws it to Xavier Legette, who's wide open and catches the ball for the first down. And then I don't know if Legette just forgot to bring his hands because he later in that drive threw a couple good passes to Legette, which Legette just dropped, including what would have been the go-ahead touchdown with about 30 seconds left. But Legette's wide open. And Bryce Young throws a perfect ball. It hits him in stride. Legette would roll into the end zone, and it slides right down his entire body. He just doesn't grab it. It's like, what are you doing? I understand you're a rookie, but still. You had a game-winning touchdown. Just secure the ball. You're doing too much at the same time. You're trying to think of running with it, going to the ground. No, just catch the ball. Everything else takes care of itself. It's all second nature. Blame Bryce Young all you want. The offensive line ain't great. Xavier Legette dropped a touchdown. I think that needs to be said. And I think the Eagles are concerned, and I saw this was on the overreactions part of the NFL saying, is Jalen Hurts hurting the Eagles? And I don't think so. I think their game plan is they want to run the football. But Jalen Hurts, before his final drive for the Eagles, had a total of 77 passing yards. 77! Going into the locker room, A.J. Brown, without naming Jalen Hurts, said the passing game needs to be better. Who else are you blaming? The quarterback's the guy who throws you the ball. Who else are you blaming? Besides the quarterback in that situation. Needs to be said. 77 yards, a touchdown, and that was it. Not a good enough performance from the Eagles, for sure. Moving on to Tampa, or the Raiders at Tampa. The score is 28-13. I want to bring this game up not because of the score and how good Tampa played, specifically for Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell played yesterday, and on the Tampa Bay side of the field, he throws a ball, and he's not contacted, and then there's a late shove by, I think it's Canty, and there's a stumble from O'Connell, and he's laying on the ground, and they end up having to put his leg in an air cast with some kind of leg injury. Anyway, he did not return. I also want to go back into the Carolina game. Jonathan Brooks, the rookie running back, he suffered a non-contact knee injury, was quickly ruled out. That tells me it's not very good. I'm hoping that he's okay, that he did not just re-injure his knee that he just had surgery on. So hopefully those two guys are okay. Moving on to Bills at Rams. The Rams with an upset win, 42-40, or 44-42, excuse me. They fended off a 6-touchdown performance from Josh Allen. There was 900 yards of offense in this game for the collective units. No defense. Some missed throws from Allen. Late game butchering from the Bills as they try to quarterback sneak it. Don't get it, and Tom Brady talked about that through pretty much the last half minute. You need an onside kick, can't get it. Game over. You would have had like 4 seconds anyway to probably do something if you could have scored that touchdown. But yeah. And good game by the Rams. Good games by the Rams. So there's not much else that you can say about that. Moving on to another team in the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers were playing the Chicago Bears, beating the Bears 38-13. This was the San Francisco Niners of old. This really was. Hang on, let me try to tuck it. Yeah, that's better. This was the San Francisco 49ers of old. They ran the ball. They were able to use their play action game. Their defense was good. They didn't make turnovers, didn't make mistakes. The opposing offense couldn't do anything. This is the team of old. This is what you expect. But this is my concern. You're a team that's 6-7. You're still in it. You can't be put in these situations. They just lost their 4th running back on their depth chart. Like they can't do this. Brock Purdy ended up getting banged up in this game. Hopefully he's okay, but that's not great. In Chicago, look at Chicago. They had an interim head coach and another offensive coordinator, and the third offensive coordinator. They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't really run the ball. Couldn't throw the ball. I think they said they had -2 yards somehow. I don't know how that happens, but they did. It was not a good performance. The defense did not play well. It was bad. I thought at least Chicago would show up. They didn't play well at all. Speaking about a team who didn't play well, the Kansas City Chiefs end up sliding out with another victory against the Los Angeles Chargers, 19-17. The Chiefs' biggest issue, besides playing these close games, is their health. They're not a healthy team. They're so low in the depth chart at corner, it makes no sense. And that's not a good thing. But because of the loss from the Bills, they get a 2-game cushion. So that's good. And the Chargers did miss opportunities, but they hit some. They did. The Chargers are kind of like we were talking about the Bears in a glowing light, right? We were talking about all these teams in a glowing light. The Chargers' biggest concern is there's two big concerns in the both offensive line, and their wide receivers. They don't have a good offensive line besides the two tackles in Slater and Alt. They don't have a good wide receiving core. Quentin Johnson had his best game yesterday. Josh Palmer, I like Josh Palmer. I think Josh Palmer's a good player. They don't have anything besides that. They had some injuries with the running back. I get it. But they don't have an offense. And that's when they played Baltimore, when they played KC, when they played Kansas City, they can't score enough. They can't score enough because Ladd McConkey ended up getting hurt in this game. Will Dissly got hurt. There was just too many injuries. It was not a good enough performance from the Chargers. That is for sure. It needs to be fixed. But you have too many issues on this roster at one position. It's just not going to happen. Moving on to let's go back into the Chiefs, Rams, and let's do Chiefs, Rams, Eagles. All three teams survived this week. Rams make it to 7-6, Chiefs 12-1, clinch the AFC West, and the Eagles make it 11-2. It's a very interesting thing. The difference is the Eagles haven't clinched yet. It's just a matter of time, though. It all depends also probably what happens tonight in the Cowboy game, with the Cowboys versus Cincinnati. It all depends on that game, I think, too. So let's see what happens. But it's a weird last month for the teams outside of Philadelphia. KC, they got to play Denver again. They play Pittsburgh. They play Houston. I don't know if they lose 3 games there. They might lose 1. So, excuse me. And then the Rams, they play San Francisco on Thursday night. They got to play Arizona. They got to play Seattle again. So, it's possible, but it's going to be very difficult if you're a team remaining in the hunt and you got the Rams and the Cardinals with their schedules. Now, let's preview Monday's game. Bengals at Cowboys. It's actually at +5 and the over-under is 50. So the over-under went up and the odds went down. So there's a few reasons of this. Number one, the left tackle, Orlando Brown Jr., he is out again with the fibula. Sheldon Rankins, I think, is still listed as out with an illness, but the Bengals are coming mostly healthy. The Cowboys, they're coming in as healthy as they can be in a long time. They haven't been this healthy, so they're expected to go. It's going to be one of those games. It's going to be one of those games that defines your season. In the case of the Cowboys, you got to keep pace with the Niners, the Rams, the Cardinals, Falcons in that wild card. And right now, you're holding on for dear life. Can you beat Cincinnati? Can you score enough points? Can your defense do enough to face a good Cincinnati team and beat them? We talk about how good Jamar Chase is, T. Higgins is, Joe Burrow is. Like, there's a reason why that's a unbelievable unit on the offensive side of the ball. Their weakest part is their offensive line. So you try to get pressure on them. On the defensive side, Trey Hendrickson is the man. Leads the league in sacks, plays very well, plays very hard. Can you avoid pressure from him and get the rest of it, the offensive line, to be good? Because I really think that's going to be a question. The Cowboys are coming in to this game. We'll see if Tyler Guyton goes. It's kind of up in the air. Tyler Smith, will he be moved to tackle? Will they roll it to Madoga if Guyton can't go? It's all debatable. It needs to be said. The Bengals, Orlando Brown Jr. out, like we said before, but coming in mostly healthy. Okay. It is going to be one of those things. Let's see what happens. The Bengals are healthy all around mostly, so it needs to be said. Okay, let's go do the news. So we talked about Raiders. O'Connell was carted off his foot in a leg or his leg in a air cast. Hopefully he's okay. Josh Allen makes history again this week with, I think he had 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns. After the week after having a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown. Next set of news is Saints fear that Derek Carr broke his hand and had a concussion. They were playing the Giants, and he tries to leap over a defender to get the first down and lands on his hand, what everyone thought first shoulder, not hand, and that no one thought concussion. They were more concerned that he landed on that shoulder, and now he has something in his shoulder. But hopefully he's okay, and that he can hang on just for a little bit longer in the season. So, we're going to talk about this. Hang on, let me have a sip of water. Okay. Is it time? This was what was said. Is it time to bench Kirk Cousins? The answer is yes. You're not going anywhere. You're 6-7. You're hanging on. But he's thrown, I think there's 7 interceptions the last 2 games. That's not good. And he started up, he was carving up the Minnesota Vikings, and he took a shot, and then after that it was done. It was like there was a quick flurry, and then it was gone. He didn't play well. He can't move. We knew that it wasn't going to be that shocking. But yeah, maybe it's time to, maybe not at the moment, but maybe it's time to start thinking about putting in Michael Penix and see what he can do. Let's just go before we finish up here. I just want to make sure I get it. Okay. Let's do this. We got 2 more things. Let's talk Jets, and then we'll finish up with Belichick. Jets, Garrett Wilson was talking about how the Jets continuously find ways to lose. This was their best performance. They played Miami. This was their best performance. It was not like they were horrible. They did good things. Aaron Rodgers had his first 300-yard game in over 2 years. It was a good performance. It's just it needs to happen. They need to have some help. And which is crazy to think about because you're saying help. They have all the help they can get. They brought in Aaron Rodgers. They brought in Mike Williams this offseason. They didn't work with Mike Williams. They ended up getting Devontae Adams, trade away Mike Williams. They put Alan Lazard on this team last year. He was playing and he was on IR, and then they activated him. They brought in Braylon Allen to help out with Brees Hall, and they can't really run the ball. They the line. They brought people in to help out and build this offensive line. He said this offensive line will be great, and they've been terrible. Like, it's not good. It's not good. You can just see Rodgers getting beat up week after week after week. And just like we said about Michael Penix, maybe the Jets should think about putting Tyrod Taylor in. Maybe they should think about it. I know you don't want to rock the boat with him, but at some point, you've won 3 games. It's not working. You need to make a change here. It's not working. They play better. Better is not good enough. And let's finish up with Belichick. So Belichick took an interview with the University of North Carolina. I got this notification on Friday. Now a report comes out that he's surprised that no NFL team has reached out about a potential interview, suggesting that, okay, there's a couple fired coaches here I can be interviewed because I don't have a job. I don't have an affiliation. Here's the reason no NFL team has reached out yet. Because it's in season. It's in season. They can interview him anytime, but it's in season. Teams aren't likely to do that. You can say, well, the Commanders did that with Ron Rivera. Yes. Yes, they did. The Commanders were a laughingstock at the time. They need something. So they were going to do whatever they could do. Belichick, look, there's a couple of jobs in the NFL that he might be able to get. I don't see those teams firing the coaches, at least at this time. But it is probably making Belichick a little nervous. Now, he has met with UNC, according to Peter Schrager, and according to Jay Glazer, not once, but twice last week. So, you say, okay, there is interest there. What would be the terms of the deal? Well, Belichick said, like we've said on the show, and we said on the Weekly podcast, that if Belichick took a job, what is the likelihood that after a couple years he steps away and someone on his staff would become the head coach? Pretty likely. It'd be the Bruce Arians thing. That's what I was assuming. But I didn't know who. You know, Josh McDaniels, Joe Judge, Matt Patricia, who was it? Turns out he made one of the agreeable things that he wanted from UNC was he wanted his son Steve Belichick to, after a couple years from Bill, to become the head coach. Steve Belichick's the defensive coordinator. Steve Belichick is the defensive coordinator of the Washington University, so the Washington Huskies. So with this move, he would have been moved as a DC to the University of North Carolina and be quote unquote head coach in waiting after Bill Belichick did a couple years. That's what I was assuming for the NFL anyway. Might not have been Steve Belichick, but it would have been somebody who was an assistant to Bill Belichick. And that is it for NFL. Let me know in the comments, what was your surprise of the week? And also, how many more times can the Chiefs and Eagles slide win one-score games in this NFL season? For NFL World, I'm Jacob Hewitt. Out.